Hello and welcome to all. It's no secret that all wild animals can be very dangerous, even the smallest of them. However, large animals, because of their weight and oversized size, have Herculean strength. So, imagine an elephant lifting a car weighing over a ton with surprising ease, or a polar bear attacking a huge herd of walruses on its own. That would be really fascinating, wouldn't it? So, if you want to discover these big animals and many more, make yourself comfortable. This is what large animals are capable of. It's hard to do what you want to a 5-ton animal. And the employees of this traveling circus understood this after they lost control of 3 elephants in the middle of a crowd of tourists gathered to see the mastodons. The footage filmed in Karabæksminde, Denmark shows the elephants coming out of their pens to cool off in the seawater on a beach. But by the time they returned, the animals were not really ready to go. You can see that during a short flutter, the pachyderms went wherever they wanted, while the tourists were spreading their legs. Once it was almost calm, a circus employee made a huge mistake. He hit one of the elephants with a metal bar. The elephant did not hesitate and tried to fight back. He chased the trainer until a car pulled them apart. And that's when you can appreciate the power of this elephant. Without difficulty, he lifted the vehicle by 1.5 tons before crushing its hood. Fortunately, after this episode, the animals calmed down and were able to be brought back to their enclosure without further frightening. They were even able to put on a show that evening at the circus. It is well known that the elephant has devastating power. Reaching up to 3.5 meters in height and weighing up to 6 tons, elephants can quickly become overly furious and charge when they feel threatened. For example, in a video filmed by Jasoprakas Debdas, we can see several elephants walking along a road surrounded by a jungle. At one point, a motorbike had to stop while waiting for the animal to clear the way, but the elephant decided otherwise. For some mysterious reason, the elephant suddenly charged towards the motorcycle. Quickly, the driver and the person sitting behind made a quick getaway and abandoned the motorcycle in the middle of the road. Although no one was injured, the motorcycle could obviously not be recovered immediately. We must admit that this footage is really impressive. It's not without reason that it went viral very quickly. Venturing by boat on a river when plump animals are sleeping in the water, with the top of their heads barely above the surface, requires a lot of courage or a bit of madness, or simply the thirst to bring back some adrenaline in one's memories of Africa. Indeed, the risk of being attacked in such a place is indeed present. And this man could testify to that. While he was out on a speedboat, a hippopotamus probably got angry that his rest was so little respected. The animal, until then considered an herbivore, did not seem to remain insensitive to the sight of human flesh. So, he set off in pursuit of the boat for about 10 meters before going on the attack. It was then that the boat accelerated just in time to avoid being run over by this enormous hippopotamus. Fortunately, the person on board escaped unhurt, but with an unforgettable memory of this little ride. For sure, if the animal had made it, the damage could have been disastrous. Hippos have a reputation as gentle animals, yet they are the most dangerous herbivores in the world. Far from their gentle image, they're brawlers. Extremely territorial, these animals have mandibles that can open up to 150 degrees and are used to threaten and dominate their opponents. Not surprisingly, hippos can inflict deep wounds on their victims. The proof with this lioness, obviously on the hunt, who almost lost her life when she decided to attack a hippopotamus. Indeed, we can see in this footage, a feline gradually approaching a hippopotamus lying on the ground. Once the lioness realized that the prey was much too big, she decided to turn back. However, the hippopotamus did not appreciate her approaching him at all. He then followed the predator a few steps and caught it in its mouth before throwing it to the ground, showing it who the real king of the animals is. According to witnesses, the lioness survived the counterattack but will never again venture to try to attack a hippopotamus. Before we continue this video, here's the question of the day. Which one of these animals can't jump? Is it? Option A, buffalo. Option B, the elephant. Option C, the bear. Write the right answer in the comments and we'll see at the end of the video if you were right. The elephant seal is known for its extraordinary skills as an ocean traveler and diver. But what most people don't know is that this animal is also very powerful. Up to 4 meters long and weighing up to 3.7 tons, the elephant seal can be very aggressive if it feels threatened. It can even attack cars, as is the case in this video. In fact, we can see a sea elephant that, after going into town, decided to attack a car. Probably very angry, the animal struck the vehicle with all its weight several times under the stunned gaze of the spectators admiring the phenomenal strength of this pinniped. Fortunately, it is very unlikely that you will ever come across a sea elephant one day. This animal spends most of its time underwater. The brown bear is an animal very well known to be dangerous, and for a good reason. In addition to having a very good sense of smell and remarkable intelligence, the brown bear is extremely strong. To prove it, a very brave man locked himself in a secure cage to test the animal's physical and intellectual capacities. Very nervous, this man nevertheless completed the experiment. Therefore, once the huge animal appeared, he moved towards the man. The man tried to give the brown bear a small piece of chicken to get his attention. And it must have worked because the urchin first tried to get its 5 big claws through the bar, and then tried to dig down to reach the food, which probably wasn't the piece of chicken. Seeing that no method was working, the brown bear knocked the cage over with astonishing ease. If the man was not inside the cage, he certainly would not have had a chance to survive, especially since this animal is undeniably one of the strongest animals in the world. Walruses are very large, ferocious and powerful marine mammals with long canines that enable them to cope with all kinds of threats. But clearly, in the face of the polar bear, walruses are totally vulnerable. The proof is in this video where we can see a polar bear approaching a huge herd of walruses. Grouped by thousands, these animals are particularly afraid of the presence of polar bears. Therefore, as soon as he was spotted, the walruses, in panic, quickly dispersed to save themselves. Of course, the polar bear quickly succeeded in capturing an individual, but it was still difficult to make a meal out of it. The reason? Well, the walrus weighs twice as much as a polar bear, and on top of that, it has a 10 centimeters thick skin, which is also its best protection against predators. So, in the end, the walrus struggled and the bear decided to let go. However, this is an incredible demonstration of what the polar bear is capable of. Bulls are known to be very dangerous when released alone in the wild. These animals that can do extreme damage as part of Spanish customs for better or worse. Unfortunately, during the Guadalajara festival, car passengers learned, despite themselves, that bulls can be extremely aggressive. Indeed, during the festival, one of the bulls escaped into the street and decided to attack anything that moved. That's when he saw a 4x4 type car and decided to attack it violently. Visibly irritated, the bull managed to grab the car. Determined to tip the vehicle over, the bull suddenly lifted the large car by the force of his horns. The bull punctured the tire and the bumper, and at the same time, exploded the vehicle's cooling system. It was only after a few seconds that the bull decided to move on to other prey, in this case, bull release participants. It must be admitted that such games are undeniably dangerous. Dreadful predators, lionesses are capable of attacking all kinds of prey, regardless of their size, strength, or speed. Both the dexterity and ferocity of these beasts at the top of the food chain are astounding, but not always. In South Africa, in the Majejane Reserve, a buffalo led a kind of revolution when it defeated the king of the animals. This buffalo had actually come to the rescue of a fellow buffalo. As the lioness grabbed him to make his meal, the buffalo intervened to save him. So, he charged the lioness, grabbed her by the horns, and managed to send her into the air in a spectacular way. As the video shows, the lioness performed an impressive pirouette before falling heavily to the ground. And the buffalo charged her again to scare her off. If you thought that safaris were quiet walks in the African savanna, then think again. The wild animals that roam these areas may appear calm on the surface, but you are not immune to their unpredictable mood swings. And it's not those tourists on holiday in Namibia who will pretend otherwise. Indeed, in the Etosha National Park in Namibia, tourists on safari have had the opportunity to meet a rhinoceros, which is not very convenient, to say the least. In fact, they spotted the animal going about its business at the bend in the road and stopped their vehicle to get a better look at it. But the imposing specimen obviously didn't appreciate the intrusion. After a few seconds, it became very agitated and suddenly charged, crushing its horn against the passenger door of the 4x4. You can see in this video that the car was shaken very violently. Then the rhino, still furious, got up and turned his head towards the second car, where the scene was filmed. He could very well have attacked it as well, but fortunately, the driver got away. In the end, all the tourists escaped, luckily unharmed. Now it's your turn to tell us in the comments which of these animals seems to you the most impressive of all? If not, the animal that can't jump is the elephant, because it's too heavy. However, there are many other animals that cannot jump, such as turtles and hippos. I hope that many of you have found the right answer.